Hey guys, Gary J here. And today I want to show you one of my favorite guns, which all of them seem to be my favorites, right? But this is a very unique gun to me, and it has a great history to it as well. Now, this particular gun is called the Savage 24 series, Savage 24 series. And actually, in 1938, it was the Stevens guns. It was manufactured by Stevens Arms, and it was called a 22 410. So the top barrel is a 22 long rifle barrel. The bottom barrel is a 410 smoothbore barrel. And this is the way they made these type of guns. And they were made in 1938 by Stevens, and in 1950, Stevens stopped making them in 1950. And now Savage Arms came into the picture there. Savage had bought Stevens back in 1920. Savage Arms bought Stevens back in 1920. So when Stevens quit making the 22 410, Savage Arms picked it up and called it the 24 series, and they made this particular gun, the over and under. And the barrel length was 24 inches long, and maybe that's why they call it the 24 series. But they had a bunch of different series, too, of this model, over and under. And so you got a 24-inch barrel. You got a weight of about 7 pounds. The length of this whole gun is 41 inches. It has a dowel pin right behind the forearm stock there on the breech that you can easily pop that dowel pin out and break the gun completely in half. Take it to two pieces and put it in a small carrier. And that makes it real neat to be able to take it down that way. Now, when you look at this particular type of gun, you'll find it very interesting. One, in the world of survival, if somebody asked me what would be the best survival gun that you could have, with my limited experience, which I've been hunting all my life, so I was raised up that way. But I think that this over and under design here would come into the picture. That this is one of the greatest probably survival guns that you could probably own. And I know some people question that, and rightfully so, but there's a lot of advantages to the 22 long rifle 410. And even the military saw that this was a great survival gun. And the United States Air Force even had this type of gun made for the Air Force, for the fighter planes, as a survival gun, the 22 long rifle 410. It had great utilitarian uses. So it was just a really neat idea. Now, we can look at several things about the 24 series. So the 24 series, they have what's called a 24A, 24B, C, CL, E, H, and J type series, and probably a couple other different series there too. Now this is kind of a plain Jane looking gun here, but they did make a higher quality over and under with beautiful wood on it, Monte Carlo stock, I think, and the color of the breech was different, like nickel plated and so forth. And they had some really pretty ones too that they did make. And so I found that very interesting. Now you could get it in different calibers, and that was a great thing there too. Because there are many different calibers that this came in. And the combination changed for the gauges too. Like on the bottom barrel, the shotgun barrel, you could get that in the 12 gauge, you could get it in the 20 gauge, you could get it in the 410. The top barrel, you could get it in the 22 long rifle, of course, also the 22 Magnum, the 22 WMR, the 30-30 rifle cartridge, the 357 Magnum, 357 Maxima, the Magnum 22, a Hornet, and the 222 Remington, 223 caliber, and maybe a couple of more. So you can get the top barrel with these various calibers, and you can get the bottom barrel with either 12 gauge, 20 gauge, or 410 gauge. I don't remember them offering a 16 gauge in these rifles. So these were made from 1938, and again in 1950, Stevens stopped making these. Savage started making them, and the Stevens company called it a 22-410, my understanding. Savage called it the 24 series because they made all these different combinations of barrels and the rifle barrel and shotgun barrels that you could have on this particular model. And Savage quit making them in 2010. So this particular gun had a lifespan of about 72 years. So it was very popular. I guess, if you're going to last 72 years, because it is so versatile. And I don't know, I think in the last 2 or 3 years maybe, I'm not sure. But now I know that they have come out, since they quit making them in 2010, Savage now makes this in the Savage 42 series. The Savage 42 series, which looks like this one here, except it has a synthetic stock and so forth. And I'll try to give you a picture of that, of what the new one today looks like. But why is this a great gun to have for survival? The 22 long rifle on the 22-410 here, you can shoot any animal under 40 pounds probably with a 22 long rifle. Now, I have known people who've shot deer with a 22 long rifle and killed them, usually a headshot. Accuracy is critical in shooting larger game with a 22 long rifle. And, they make hot rounds like CCI and so forth for your 22 long rifles. The ones on this little table here in front of you are 22 hollow points, long rifle hollow points. Now, I would not shoot 22 long or 22 shorts in this because the bullet has to jump a little gap to get to the barrel, and it could affect the accuracy. And with the 410, what makes that really so versatile is that the barrel on these don't really have a choke to them. So you have a wider pattern. So since the barrel really doesn't have a choke to it, it's kind of a straight pipe design here, like an improved cylinder. The 410, you can get that in like number 8 shot, 7 shot, 6 shot, 4 shot, I think. You can get it in buckshot. You can get it in a slug too, and shoot that all safely through this 410 barrel. So you could shoot a deer with the 410 slug or a 410 buckshot. And the effective range of one of these guns with the 22 long rifle and the 410 is probably between 25 and 30 yards realistically, which is not too bad. So what we use them for is like my dad taught me how to squirrel hunt. I remember when my father bought one of these when I was a kid. I can't remember how old I was, maybe 9 or 10 years old or 8 years old. And it was very interesting. And we would go squirrel hunting, and he would show me how to shoot this gun. And I remember him, he said, like in the squirrel nest, for example, in the tree, it'd be a windy day. That was a windy day. We were hunting one day. And he said, you shoot the 22 long rifle into the nest. You can't see any squirrels running around at that time. And so he said, you shoot the 22 long rifle into the center of the nest. and then flip the switch for the 410. Because if that squirrel is in the nest, he's going to jump out running wide open. And then you just kind of track him down with the 410, using your front sight and rear sight on this model, and shooting with the 410. And I've seen my father shoot many a squirrel that way, shooting into the nest. A lot of times you shoot into the nest, nothing happened. The squirrel wasn't there, whatever. But I've seen a number of them jump and run. My dad would catch them with the 410, and then he would let me shoot the gun that way too. And so if an animal's running, like a squirrel, a rabbit, or anything, again, I'm probably under 40 pounds, that 410 could be very useful in trailing them and shooting them. And if you got an animal that's still, then of course the 22 long rifle is probably better for one that's still, not moving. And this is another reason that makes it so versatile. Now, in front of you is a box of 410 shells. You see how small that box is right there? That's a very small box. And that's 20 rounds, and that's number 6 shot. And that's 2.5 max. This 410 will shoot 2 3/4 shells and 3-inch 410 shells. So you can get a little bit more oomph if you want to put 3-inch shells in there. So you have the versatility, you have different shells in there. And then the 22, that's 50 rounds there in that box. So you've got 2 small boxes right here that you could put in your hunting bag, and you can shoot for a long time with these 2 small boxes here. So the weight of the ammo will be very light. That's another reason it's a great survival gun. And it's very accurate. Now, if you decide that you want something like this, number one, zero in the rifle sight on the top barrel. We'll look at it a little bit closer. Number two, with the rifle sight, shoot the 410 barrel and see where your pattern is hitting. Your pattern may be hitting a little bit lower than you think, or the main part of your pattern may be a little bit lower than you think. So you'll have to make allowances for that when you shoot at different distances to a certain extent. So that's the only thing you have to really remember is where the 410 pattern is, because it's not going to be dead center of everything. It's going to be close, but you need to know that. So we'll look at this a little bit closer. I'm just trying to give you as much information as I can about it. And it's got swivels on the front and the back on the stock there too for your sling. And again, 7 pounds is not bad at all. And the ammo there, you got pretty much everything you need. Again, you can add your buckshot and slugs and any combination you want to put in there, and make it very versatile. So let's take a little bit closer look at it. Okay, guys, what we want to look at right here is the hammer first. And, of course, every time you shoot these guns, you got to cock it back right here. And we've got a little switch here that we can pull up and push down. Now, if you're going to shoot the bottom barrel, it would be in this position right here. That would be the 410. If you're going to shoot the top barrel, you pull this back, and that would fire the top barrel. On my father's 24 series, which is an older one of this, it has a switch here that would move up and down. And you flip the switch up for the 22 barrel and down for the 410. Okay. Now, he always told me, when you have this all the way back on the switch here, that would be the top barrel. Shoot in the middle of the squirrel nest, for example. And after you shot, cock the hammer back and flip it to the 410 barrel, because if that squirrel's there, he's going to take off. And you don't have to fumble with it. So then you'd be just waiting. After you shot in there, you flip it. After you shot, boom, pull the hammer back, flip the 410, and be waiting for him to run. Because you don't know if he's going to run to the right or the left or straight up the tree or where. So you would be ready for him. So that's basically how the switch works here. I don't know. Well, this is pretty easy right here, I guess. His was right there, so I guess it was a little difficult if you're a right-handed shooter to flip the switch up and down. They had on his. But this makes it a little bit easier because when you shoot, you got to cock it back anyway, and your up and down switch is right there. So that's pretty good. So that's how that works. And to break this open, and this opens so well right here too. You just turn this little lever right here, just like a regular shotgun. And look how thick this barrel is right here. This is huge right here, very thick. And the 22 barrel is pretty thick right here too. And so this is a really well-made gun here. And you see it's got a simple rear sight right here. And nothing real fancy about that, but you can adjust it real easy. And on the front sight right here, that ramp sight there, you got a screw holding the barrel. Now notice on the barrels here, they're separated here. And on my father's 24 Savage, the older one, these two barrels are together, just like an over and under shotgun where the barrels are all the way flush together. That's the way his is. And then we have a swivel mount here, put it on a sling, which I really like that. And this thing is so smooth. And you got the case hardened steel here on the breech right here, which is kind of nice. Now when I sanded this down, the green varnish that they put from the factory on here, took all that off. It's really got a pretty wood here to me that you never would have known with that green varnish on the stock. And the stock turned out really well. Maybe you can read this right here a little bit. And it says Savage 24 Series, 410 gauge, 2.5 and 3 inch shells. Savage arm, restricted. And the serial number. And this is the dial pin I was telling you about. You can knock that out real quick and easy with like a wooden dial stick. Knock that out real quick and break this in half and fold it, put it, a smaller carrying case or something like that. Kind of like a backpack almost. And it works real well. I checked the trigger pull on it, and it's right at 6 pounds on the trigger pull. You could change that a little bit if you wanted to. But just all in all, a really fantastic gun to me. So you might come up with a better combination than the 22-410. I don't know. 22 ammo is really cheap compared to other, if you get into centerfire ammo. And I can tell you, in the hands of the right person, you can shoot a 22 long rifle a long distance. Now, of course, we're talking about stopping power and what you're going to shoot at that. But these can be very accurate. I don't think I mentioned one thing too on the barrel right here. You've got grooves right here on both sides, and that's for a scope mount. Can't really see the purpose of a scope on one of these right here because you got a shotgun barrel underneath that. But, that would be to whoever decides they want that. And so you have that option too. But all the different calibers that I mentioned that this comes in is pretty incredible that you have that many choices with these guns. And again, that 42 Savage series is a synthetic stock, and you get that, I don't know whether it has a dial pin when you can take that out, take it apart or not. But that makes it really nice when you can do that. And make it more compact. So this is a gun you don't see very often. I've seen them on Gunbroker, and they run between what I've seen $600 and $800 on Gunbroker on these type of guns. Now on Gunbroker, they have some of the real fancy ones though, real fancy stocks, real like nickel-plated breeches on them, and just really cool. So I really like these guns. You don't see them very often. I've only seen maybe 3 or 4 of them in my lifetime. So I mean, it just, you don't really hear a lot about them either. Well, I hope this gives you some idea, and you can see how small the 410 is. Now the 410, the shot, buckshot and all coming out of a 410 barrel is about the same as a 12 gauge, that kind of speed coming out, but you got a lot less, pellets, a lot less buckshot, maybe 4 buckshot or something like that. So again, the distance on this is probably going to be 25, 30 yards for real accuracy. If you're a good if you're a good shooter, you can extend that out farther too. So just an idea. Well, just wanted to show you the beauty of the 24 Series Savage. Thanks for watching, guys. Gary J.